Hi, everyone. This is Felicia Brown with One Concept Radio, where I'm getting to know experts and educators from the massage, chiropractic, acupuncture, and spa professions. Today, I'm honored to be here with Patrick Mumme. Patrick Mumme is the founder and president of Symmetry for Health and the author of the book Symmetry, Relieve Pain and Optimize Physical Motion. Patrick, thanks so much for being here today.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Well, as always, we're glad to have you for the interview, and of course, we're excited to have you at the conference coming up in September in San Diego. It's going to be great to see you again.
Yeah, I'm so excited to be there.
Fantastic. Well, Patrick, today I have a few questions for you, and first of all, I'd like to hear your thoughts about this. As some of the people listening know, you're actually not a massage therapist nor a chiropractor or an acupuncturist. So, Patrick, I'd love for you to explain what exactly brought you to working with these healing professions and professionals.
Well, you want the long story or the short one?
We'll take something in between.
All right, I'll give you the medium one. Ever since high school, I had always wanted to be a physical therapist, but my first love and passion was baseball. So I kind of went to college to play baseball and then secondarily to find a career. So I kind of did it backwards. But long story short, I ended up getting a scholarship to San Diego State in baseball and was fortunate enough to play there. But also fortunate enough, I always tell people that I was injured quite a bit my last year there. My degree was in athletic training, which at the time was pre-physical therapy, and the intent was once I graduated from San Diego State, I was going to go to physical therapy school, get my master's, and then heal the world. Problem was is that because of my chronic injuries and my experiences that I accrued over my career, nobody could help me. I was in this funk in terms of being a student, learning injury prevention and assessment and everything, the techniques that were involved with athletic training. But as an injured athlete, we had entree to all the top specialists in San Diego. San Diego State's athletic training program at the time was number 2 in the nation. So, you know, we had a real good reputation. Problem was that nobody could heal me, and it was really, really frustrating for me. And by the time I graduated from San Diego State, I completely changed the way that I felt about healthcare as we know it in the United States. And to make a longer story longer, I ran into a friend of mine who was working at a clinic in San Diego called the Egoscue method. And it was the first time I had ever heard this approach, which is looking at somebody's posture and then dealing with corrective exercise and stretching, strengthening positions to actually help get people out of pain. And so just like that, my career changed course, and I pretty much ran with it. In 1997, I started Symmetry, and from my experiences with that, have since created a system that I believe is what every practitioner needs to have in their practice.
And that's part of what you're going to be teaching in San Diego at the One Concept conference, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Well, I know I have been in your classes before and have just found your system to be amazing. I keep thinking I'll find a window of time where I can come out there and do the certification. So I have to give a big thumbs up and encouragement to people listening to sign up for your classes and learn about it, because it really is phenomenal how the stretching works. And, you know, as someone who's been a massage therapist for almost 20 years, to see something so effective and really so fast and trackable, you know, where you can actually see what the change is so quickly is pretty amazing.
Well, I think that's one of the things that identifies me as being different. You know, people ask me, what am I? Are you a chiropractor? Are you a massage therapist? And I say, well, I'm really nobody. In fact, I've been trying to find myself for years. But the reality is that I find that is an advantage for me, because I'm not categorized in one discipline. What enables me to bridge the gap is the fact that I don't fall into, you know, a chiropractic category, a massage category, acupuncture category. In fact, with my background and my degree and my experiences, what I've created is more physics-based, which you really don't learn in the healthcare arena. And when you look at the body as levers and pulleys, and you understand gravity and the force vectors and the pull of gravity and gravitation and all these different concepts, Newton's laws, then you really get a really focused understanding of how the body really reacts to certain situations and compensation patterns and all that's involved with a structure and the building of a structure and the function of a structure around that force. All I've been able to do is to quantify it, and that's what this system is all about. It's taking physical measurements with a device that I have created called a postural assessment tool. I have a patent on that and the system where you take the measurements, plug it into the software, and then it specifically sequences the exercises individually so that a person is getting exactly what they need instead of just generic stretching or generic strengthening programs out there which continually hurt people because they're doing things that they really shouldn't be doing.
Well, it's quite amazing to watch, and I think that it's going to be a great draw for all the professionals that are coming to the conference there. Now, you've mentioned before about your own pain, and so since you've worked with pain both personally and then treating other people in pain in your own practice, and with some of these professionals that we're talking about, massage therapists, chiropractors, perhaps even acupuncturists, and other referral sources, I'm wondering what advice you can give to all of them so that they can succeed for the long term without hurting themselves. I mean, I can tell you right now that when I was first in practice, I was in pain a lot from things I was probably doing wrong. And I know there are a lot of people out there that are gifted and they want to give themselves fully to their practice, but they end up hurting themselves or burning out. So what can you share with them to maybe, I guess, heed some practical advice or keep from going down that road?
Well, there's a couple of things. The first thing that I always ask in any course that I teach is, well, there's a couple of things, but the first thing is I ask who in this audience is in pain. And I find it kind of ironic because, as you mentioned, when I'm presenting in front of practitioners, I get about 80% hands raised. Mm-hmm. And I call that ironic because they shouldn't be in pain. And this is one of the the big message that I have for practitioners is, what do you give your patients, your clients, to go home and partake in their own healing process? What do you do to educate and to give the tools to your clients to help hold your treatments? What do you give them? And the majority of us kind of fall short with that. We don't really give anybody anything, and if we do give them something to go home with, it's just generic and it's not really written down. It's not specific to anything, and so people, they'll give a good effort in the beginning, and then they'll fall off because they're not being held responsible and they're not being motivated, and human nature is human nature, so people end up just not doing anything. And so the problem with that is you have to take a look at your home environment. You have to look at your work environment. You have to look at your historical environment as to where you've placed your body from the beginning, from going to school and kindergarten sitting all day long, to going through college and learning how to go to work and sit all day long, or become a massage therapist and bend all day long, or become a dentist and squat all day long over somebody's mouth. And really what you have to do is focus on changing the home environment. Otherwise, people will never get better. They can come into our office and we can treat them and we can make them feel better, but if they go home back to their old habits and their same routine, the body's just going to default back to its old patterns. And so there's two main messages I give practitioners. One is you really have to get people to be responsible for themselves. But if they don't have the understanding and the tools, then they're not really going to be consistent with that. But number two is, with the education, you have to include, even if it's in your office, you have to include your clients in the participatory function of what you're doing with them. And one of the other questions that I ask practitioners right off is, how many of you take pictures of your clients? And again, I get 80% no hands on this one. And the reality is that we have to give people a reason to be excited about their treatment other than just pain as the reference point. And this is one of the big issues that I talk about, because if people just come in and all they have to baseline their success with their treatment is whether they feel better or not, then let's just say that they do feel better and they go home, then there's no connect between why they got better and what they should be doing at home and be responsible for in order to keep that pain-free aspect of their lives. And so we don't really follow through with treatments with pain as just being the baseline for treatment. And that's pretty much where all treatments fall short, is that if we just focus on the pain itself, then you're really not getting at the problem.
I think that's great advice. And, it's been a common thread talking to people about that empowerment, your clients, to get them excited, get them involved, and get them, really participating in the process instead of just being passive.
Yeah, and this is why I'm really excited about the One Concept opportunity this time. Last time we were able to launch or present our new device, which was the postural assessment tool. This time, and I know Scott's been offended because he feels like I've been ignoring him, but he knows that I love him. But I've literally been head down, head to the grindstone. I don't know what the term you want to use, but
that sounds painful,
I know
Patrick.
I'm screwing them all up. But anyway, we're launching a brand new software system and a brand new device at the One Concept this year, and I'm never been more excited about this business. The tools that we're going to give practitioners that will allow them to support their clients is going to be unmatched, and the device that we're launching is going to be unmatched, and we're just so incredibly excited to present and offer that at this conference, and to be able to explain it at these courses that I'm going to be teaching. Or we're 3 weeks away, and I'm just so excited about it.
I'm sure it'll be phenomenal. Can't wait to learn more about that. Speaking of the conference, one of the things that has become a really big focus at these conferences by One Concept is community. And this is especially true with the recent addition of an actual community room at their events. So I'm curious how you see the different healing professions working together or collaborating as a community in the future.
Well, you're talking to an American, so you're talking about capitalism. So let me really think about that. Very difficult. However, what I'm trying to do with at least Symmetry is bridge that gap. I work in a what's called the Folsom Health and Wellness Center, right here in beautiful Folsom, California, home of Johnny Cash. Actually, not the home of Johnny Cash, but the irony is, I work in a wellness center. Nobody collaborates. Nobody knows each other. Nobody works together. Why? Because we're all afraid that everybody's going to take business away from each other. So it gets to be really difficult to form relationships with people when you're not sharing information for the sake of healing people. And that's really, you want to get into another whole interview. Let's talk about the American insurance policy and the way that it works. But we'll save that for another day. The reality is that we all have to be willing to educate each other. And people ask me, well, your whole program is certifying people to become Symmetry practitioners. Isn't that impinging on your business? And the reality is, yeah, I'm actually creating competition for myself. But it's the only way that I'm going to spread the word of Symmetry, to be able to get practitioners not to have to go back to 4 years of school and learn something new, where they can go through a certification process and just immediately implement these tools for their clients to be more proactive. And I think you talk about community, that's where we all have to, kind of drop the egos and figure a way that we all can share each other's knowledge in a way that we can all use it, for the benefit of the actual consumer, which is the person in pain. That's really how it's going to work. It's a tricky answer, though, to that question.
Well, I think it takes like-minded individuals and people with the forward thinking like yourself and the other experts and presenters we have at the conference that are willing to share their light and their knowledge, if you will, with others so that they can have a broader impact instead of just saying, well, I'm just going to see my clients and not tell anybody what I do, and it's just going to be all for me. And recognizing that, by creating competition, so to speak, you are actually personally affecting many more people than you could if you just kept it to yourself. And, I think that's beautiful, and glad you're doing it.
Thank you. That was the word I was going to use.
Well, good. We're so like-minded. Patrick, I know that people listening, of course, are going to want to come and take your classes, but in the event that they aren't able to make it to San Diego or they just want to learn more about you before then, could you please share your website and other best contact information?
Sure. Yeah. The best way to find out more about what we do, what we are, is through our website. It's www, which hasn't changed, symmetryforhealth.com. That's SYMMETRYFOR, not the number 4, but FOR health, symmetryforhealth.com. And there's all the information, and you can register for the courses online, or you can just find out more information. There's a brochure online, and so that's the best place to start. Otherwise, they can give us a call. We do have a toll-free number. I don't know if anybody uses toll-free numbers anymore. So I just gave you the local number, which is 916-467-7764.
Fantastic. Patrick, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to be with us, and, of course, for being at the conference coming up in San Diego. We look forward to having you there, and I can't wait to see you.
Yeah, I'm excited. I can't wait to see you guys either.
And for those of you listening, if you'd like to learn more from Patrick Mumme, please join us for the One Concept American Massage, Chiropractic, Acupuncture, and Spa Conference in San Diego, California, September 13th through 15th. Just go to www.oneconcept, that's the word one, O-N-E, concept.com for more information and to register. Hope to see you there.